Hey, welcome. Hi. Hi, Catherine.
Hi,
Hello.
it's Stephanie. I can't see you yet because I'm trying to go live.
Hey, welcome. Hi.
Hi. I think we're okay now.
Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So, hello. Okay, and it looks like we are connected. John, does it look like we're live?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, well, let's get started. We're starting right on time at 6 o'clock. And I am Stephanie Bressler, and I'm the secretary for the Ethics Board. And in the absence of having a chairperson, I am also convening the meeting. So I want to especially welcome our new member, Harry Mckay. Thank you so much for accepting the mayor's appointment to the board.
Thank you.
Okay.
My pleasure.
Is there anything you'd like to tell us about yourself? Anything you think we should know?
Well, I just moved here 3 years ago. I've lived in California for 25 years. And the first thing you all want to know is why am I here? And the reason is that my daughter lives here. And I have family in the area. And I've been coming here for many, many, many years. I married into a large Italian family. And so I've been coming here, but I've never lived here. But now that I'm only doing consulting and retired from my full-time job, my daughter always wanted to live here. So she moved here a year before I did. I gave her a year, and then I decided I wanted to be close to her. Thank God. I moved here right before the pandemic, or I wouldn't have seen her for a year. So, and I will just tell you, the only thing I miss about California is the weather.
Right.
It's unaffordable. If anybody's thinking of moving there, it's unaffordable.
Yeah, I also moved back from California.
I know. We talked.
Yeah, and I miss the weather.
Yeah, I do too. But only in the winter. Only at this time of the year. You know, it's lovely here. It's just in the snowy days I don't appreciate.
But we haven't had too many.
No.
Okay, let me call the roll. I'm Stephanie Bressler, David Falcheck.
Here.
Okay. Catherine Lafferty-Danner.
Here.
Harry Mckay.
Here.
And our solicitor, John Hart.
Here.
Okay. The first real item of business we have is, and again, I want to apologize up front. I'm trying to take minutes while I'm running the meeting, so I'll be looking down a lot and doing some writing. The first order is the reading and approval of the minutes of the November 17th meeting. Do I have a motion to suspend the reading and approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion. We suspend the reading of the minutes for approval.
Okay, and a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, Katie. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay, all right.
Oh, Harry's muted.
Oh, Harry, you're muted.
I can vote, I assume, at this point, right?
Yes, Harry was officially confirmed last night at the city council meeting. So,
Okay.
yes. Okay. All right, we'll move to the reports, the solicitor's report. So, John, I'm not sure if you have anything to provide about our pending complaint, and if you could just maybe give a little background so that Harry knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, Harry, so actually, obviously this board is relatively new. And we did receive one complaint at the beginning of this year of 2021. And the board doesn't have access to that complaint. It's supposed to be separate and apart from us. And it's part of our duty to appoint an investigative officer to look into that. And they have full discretion to review the complaint to test whether or not it has any credibility. And then if you review our code, it will have a process of what they have to do. If they do find it to be credible, then they have to move forward with an investigation, a formal investigation. And at which point in time, once they've come to a conclusion, they have to issue a final report. Now that final report actually goes to the subject of the complaint. And the subject then has the opportunity to decide whether or not they want to admit to it or, deal with the penalties that we may impose, or if they want to appeal it. Should they want to contest that complaint, then they have to move forward and the investigative officer will inform the board. And that's really the first time that the board has access to information about what's going on. And the whole reason why there's a lot of anonymity included with this and deliberately, so nothing, you don't want any reputations tarnished or anything like that, especially if there's no merit behind a claim. So if they do want to appeal it and say, this is not right, I'm going to contest it, that's the first time it ever reaches to, the information comes before the board. We haven't been there yet. The final report, I believe, was issued. I spoke to the investigative officer. His name is Ryan Campbell, who's an attorney. He did inform me that he was issuing the final report and his findings to the subject. And I believe they have 30 days to appeal, so to speak. We haven't heard back from them yet. This matter, it did take a while. I believe that there were a couple hurdles, being the first complaint within our city for the ethics board. One of which was our investigative officer ran into some roadblocks to get information through city employees. So we did have to, I did assist him in crafting subpoenas to be issued upon employees of the city. And then we did, at that point in time, I think is when we received information from, or at least were reached out from the solicitor's office for the mayor. And they said they're willing to help us in any way possible. Nobody really knew the procedure at that point in time. But aside from those little hurdles, I know that he completed his report, and we just, as of right now, we don't know what the end result is until when and if the individual takes an appeal. That's all it is really for the complaint. We do have, in reviewing the code, we do have a lot of power as to what we can do. We're an independent, the board is independent from the city and how they address these issues. It's a watchdog essentially. So it's been a learning process, obviously, for the board, particularly just to see how this pans out. But it seemed to be, aside from that, it seemed to be pretty smooth.
So I have a question, John. Was it difficult to get the information mainly because this is such a new process?
Yes. Yep. In fact, when the investigative officer called me, I want to say maybe during the summer is when he ran into the issues and trying to get these records. And I think he needed video footage of the occurrence. He contacted me saying that he had issues with I think it involved, I forget which agency of the mayor's office, but anyways, he said that they weren't willingly giving away information, which understandably, because they never received that type of request before. So we did reiterate and we pointed to the code showing his powers to do that. I mean, he has complete discretion, and we, as the board, you guys have the authority to subpoena any information. So after we worked that out and we pointed out the correct authority, he didn't have any issues.
Thank you.
John, I have a question. Could you explain to me how the subject of an investigation could be given the right to appeal before the investigation has even been received?
Well, because as the investigative officer, they're the ones that makes the determination whether or not there's a violation of the code of ethics. It really doesn't hit the board's, that's the appeal process. It's up for the board to make that determination if the individual wants to appeal. So once he does, then it goes up before the board, and it actually, we haven't had it yet, we haven't faced it, but I know Stephanie and I have been looking through the code. I believe this came up last month, but the process, and it's going to be costly, I know. There's going to be a couple extra attorneys that are required to move forward with that. We do have to see whether or not there's going to be an issue with the subject to to contest it. If the individual doesn't think that the ethics board was right in making that determination, that's when they come up to appeal.
But at this stage, what you're describing is that the investigator is not only the fact finder, but also the interpreter of the law, interprets and applies the law before we get to act.
It's almost like sentencing, I would say. So if the subject is not contesting these charges, then either way, it goes before the board at that point in time to determine the penalty. It's like a guilty plea, so to speak, in which case it's always the subject of the prosecutor. So he is acting as the prosecutor, so to speak, and the board in this light is the judge.
So who hired him?
The board.
Okay, this group hired the investigative officer.
Yep. Yeah, that's part of the responsibility. One of the responsibilities of the board is to appoint an investigative officer.
Okay. And where is the code of ethics? Is that on the website
Yes.
That is, yes. Yep.
for this group? This group has its own website?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, it's on the city of Scranton's website. It's its own landing page.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Other questions for John?
So what's the next step? We just wait?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, I believe that was just issued in the past few weeks. So there is a waiting. I don't know what day it was issued, but there is, I believe, a 30-day period for them to make that appeal. So we do wait to see what the subject of the matter is looking to do.
And then we would have 45 days to set up an evidentiary hearing.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, we can. John, is there anything else you'd like to report?
That is all I have with regards to the complaint. I do see on the agenda we have the approval of the investigative officer's invoice. And here, so you know, this is the first time that they're actually our officers giving us an invoice, because we didn't fully know how much this would cost. And this has been an issue, I believe, since this is a new board, as to what expenses will be entailed. It's the first time in Scranton's history, I think, that has this to this effect. I thought, I know I issued this, or I at least circulate this with Stephanie and the rest of the members at the time. Stephanie, I believe, did you shared that with Harry as well?
Yes, I did. Mhm.
So it's not out of I think it was a reasonable invoice. We did go through it. And it's within our budget, fortunately, for this
Personally.
for this year. Yep.
So that actually is the next item on the agenda, review and approval of the investigative officer's invoice.
Are we on a calendar year budget or?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'm so used to being in education, which is always from July to June,
Right.
but you're on a calendar year. Okay.
It's a calendar year budget, and we currently have $10,000. And we know that we could possibly rack up a lot of expenses, especially if there's an evidentiary hearing and if there are more complaints. At that point, we would have to really work with the city to make sure that we have money to cover that. And we've been given some reassurance that that's the case. Okay, so let's look at that invoice. Do we really can't discuss the invoice, I don't think, John, because the invoice does give some indication about where some of the information is coming from for the complaint. So I'm not sure that we can really review review the.
Correct. Not
invoice.
right.
Right. Okay. So I will entertain a motion to approve the investigative officer's invoice of $3,465.
I'll motion to approve the invoice.
Thank you, Katie. A second?
I will second the motion to approve.
Okay. And we'll have a vote. All in favor, aye.
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 Aye. Are there any no dissenting votes? Okay. John, well, actually, let's move on to the next one, then I'll ask John a question. John has also submitted an invoice for $1,215. And looking at that, you have an idea of the kinds of service he provides to this board. Do we have a motion to approve that invoice of $1,215 for the solicitor?
I'll make a motion to approve the solicitor's invoice.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, aye.
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 Any dissent? Okay. John, I'm not sure how those invoices are handled. Typically, I send invoices to the business administrator's office. Is that how you've been handling yours?
Yes, yeah. After it's approved by the board, I just email the invoice out, letting them know that it's been approved.
To the business administrator's office?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll actually send both of those tomorrow.
Yeah, that works great. Thank you.
Okay.
I have another question, John. So theoretically, it's possible over the course of 12 months that we could have several complaints and even exceed our budget. And it's possible that none of them ever come to the board.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think Stephanie would be better suited to answer about the budget and how that's tapped into. But Stephanie, I know that you looked into the issue in the past, right? And you were given guidance saying that can come from the general fund then?
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
Anticipated costs that exceed the budget for the board.
Right.
That's still being taken care of.
I actually didn't look into it. Another member of the board did. But we were provided with some assurance from, I believe, the city attorney at the time, that if we needed more money, we would be able to hopefully find it. And that would come from the general fund.
Then if a complaint actually does come to the board, does that mean it's then public? So the public can attend this meeting?
Let me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be public.
Well,
I don't see at that point, it's already been a matter of public record for the appeal.
right. The evidentiary hearing is not necessarily public unless the subject requests that
It is.
it's public.
It
But
is.
I think- yeah.
It's a closed hearing. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
But I think when we issue a final report, I believe that will be public. Is that right, John?
Correct. The final order would be placed on the city's website.
So again, I'm asking because I know that city council meetings are open to the public. This meeting is not. Is that correct?
Oh, this meeting is. It's being televised right now.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yes. This is
Yeah,
a public
accessible.
meeting. Yes.
But people cannot participate.
They cannot participate directly in Zoom meetings, but they can send comments and questions to our email.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And when we have in-person meetings, of course, the public is invited. Okay. Shall we move on? Okay. Secretary's report. We need to plan a reorganization meeting in January. The code requires that every January we have an organization meeting where we elect officers and plan the meetings for the rest of the year. At that point, I think we'll be deciding whether we will continue to meet monthly or whether we can meet every other month. So we should think about that. The code says that meetings are called by the chair, but we decided last year to set a regular meeting time and to meet monthly. The code requires that there be a chair and a vice chair to be elected in January, and that there also be a 2-member gift subcommittee. The secretary is a position we added in the spring or winter of 2020. And we did that because we really needed somebody to take the minutes on a regular basis, to maintain records. That I became the acting secretary, and so that's been quite a while now, and that role has really evolved so that I also maintain a lot of contact with city departments, make sure the webpage is updated, make sure that bills are paid, make sure that we have a meeting room or we have a Zoom meeting set up. I'm willing to continue in that position, but if the board agrees, or I can relinquish that position. So I really like to have good, clear records. So I volunteered to do this, but we can make that decision in January. But
And are we not, we're missing one person, aren't we?
Yes, we have a vacancy, and I understand that that vacancy might be filled in maybe even before January,
Okay.
before that meeting. So we really need to think about who would be willing to serve as chair and vice chair. And also we need 2 people to be on the gift subcommittee because we've had a lot of turnover. We no longer have a chair and we no longer have a vice chair, and I'm the sole member of the gift subcommittee. So I don't think we have to discuss any of that today. We can wait until January. Any questions about that?
Is there any description of the gift committee somewhere where I could look on?
Yes, in the code. I think it's maybe about page 11.
Okay.
I
I don't want to take up time here if I'm the only one that doesn't know what the gift committee does.
Right. Well, the gift subcommittee reviews the gift reports that are submitted to the city clerk's office. And you'll see in the code that anything that's not considered a de minimis gift really needs to be reported. And the gift subcommittee actually reviews those gift reports and at times needs to issue a determination as to whether that gift needs to be returned or whether that can be justified. And we've had a number of examples. For example, the mayor accepted a decorative plate, but has decided that it will be on display at City Hall. So it's not a gift to her personally, but really she accepted on behalf of the city. And I suspect that a lot of people are not reporting those gifts. So we need to do some education in that area. And Harry, you and I can be in contact, and I can give you some more information about the code and where to find some of these provisions. Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, but I don't want to take up your time at this meeting.
That's okay. But you and I can talk, and I can also direct you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. The finance report, well, I think we were all waiting to see how much the invoice would be for the investigative officer's report, hoping that it would be within our budget, and it certainly is. So I think we're okay for this year. Our only expenses have been the investigative officer's invoice, John's invoices, and then ads that we've had to take out. We have to place legal ads when we change our meeting date or we change the location of the date. So I think, while I don't have an exact number, I think we're certainly within our budget this year. Okay, the gift subcommittee, we have not received any reports, gift reports since the last meeting. Is there other business? Okay, public participation, we have not received any comments or questions. As of some point today, I checked our email. Okay, the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 19th at 6 p.m. I think closer to that meeting, we can decide whether it will be an in-person meeting. We do have the governor's room at City Hall reserved for our meetings next year. I think we really need to see what the COVID situation looks like by January. And I can be in touch with everyone and we can make a decision about whether we do a Zoom meeting or in person. So hopefully we can get back to in person soon where the public really can participate. So that meeting is scheduled for the third Wednesday, which would be January 19th at 6 p.m. Okay, before we adjourn, is there anything else anybody would like to discuss or any questions? Okay. Well, then I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Okay. A second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second that motion.
Okay, Catherine, you go ahead.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 So Liz, as I promised, it was a brief meeting. Harry, you should know that these meetings are broadcast live on electric ECTV, and they are also available on YouTube. So anybody who can't watch us tonight will be able to check and look at a video. Okay, thank you, everybody. And I'll
Have
see
a great
you.
holiday, everyone.
Yes,
Yes.
happy holidays.
Yes, all of you. And John, enjoy your baby's first Christmas.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, that would be great.
Good.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Harry, if you're still here,
Yes,
do you have any questions, or would it be best for us to just speak?
maybe just for my questions, we can do that offline.
Okay, sure. I'd be happy to do. We'll set up a time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
It's my pleasure. Bye-bye.